obviously pleased with our guys winning the ball game against UConn on the road. Just thought it was a nice team effort, ability to run the football, score some early points, conversions on third down, some big plays in the passing game. For our defense to go out there and shut a team out was obviously gratifying. Special teams made some big plays. So just happy with our team and their ability to be resilient in the 10th week of the year. As we get to this bye week, we won't do much this week early on. Finish up with a little bit of work against our next opponent, Tulane, at the end of the week. Really, it's time for us to recover, get rejuvenated, and get ready for these last two games down the stretch.
Open to the questions for Coach Rhule, please. Star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue, then the operator will introduce you.
We'll go to Dan Tortora from WakeUpCallDT.com.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Dan. How you doing, bud?
Doing well. To go into a bye week, obviously it's a late one for you, but you're going in on a 4-game winning streak. So how do you keep the team up, and how do you kind of navigate that, whereas opposed to going in, maybe going 2-3, or at the time of the bye week, you're 4-0 when you're going into this bye week?
We treat each state on its own merit. We are what we are. We're a 7-3 team right now, and while we've won 4 straight, we also didn't get off to the greatest start early in the year. So we're just reacting to where we are right now. We're probably like most teams are taking a bye this week. We're tired, banged up. We've faced some good teams. We've had some a lot of late night games, a lot of road games. So we're just reacting to where we are, and we'll try to get us recovered and as healthy as possible before we start work on the next game.
When you look at Armstead and what he's been able to do rushing the ball for you, coming out of this last game, 133 yards, almost 7 yards a carry against Connecticut, just what you can say about his growth, his progression, and your takeaways from him as you head into this bye week.
Well, he's always been very talented, but I think he's just become a much tougher player. He's becoming a physical running back. He's running through contact. He's establishing contact. He's becoming more of a total back in that his protection level has increased. So I'm just pleased with his maturity. I think he's trying to become a more complete back each and every day.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Sure.
And we'll now go to Mark Naducci from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Matt, would you be able to tell me what kind of feedback you're getting early on about Hassan Reddick from NFL people who watch you guys in practice or have seen you in games?
Yeah, I wouldn't divulge anything that they tell to me, and they don't tell me very much. They come in, they get their questions answered, and they head on out. So.
Okay. One other thing. Any update on Derek Thomas?
Yeah, he like most of our guys is just a little bit banged up. We'll know next week. Most of our guys would be able to play this week if they could, but I'm sure he'll be healthy and ready to go next week. It was just something they tried to get warmed back up, and they couldn't really get it done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
And we'll now go to Sean Pastor with Al's Daily.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, good, Sean. How are you doing?
Great. So I was curious, starting to look ahead to Tulane. And, after when you guys played Army, the season opener, after that game, Jeff Monken made a comment that you had come out with a defensive scheme that's a little bit out of the ordinary from what they usually see against their option attack, and that it was similar to what you guys had done against Navy a couple of years ago, and that he had to adjust. I guess he made some decent adjustments there, but I was just curious. It struck me because that game a couple years ago against Navy, you guys didn't do particularly great, and I just wondered how much you guys tinker with that scheme, or I don't know if what he said was completely accurate, and how much you're looking at tinkering with what you do generally against the option, with 2 weeks to prepare for this game.
So the difference between what we did against Navy and what we did against Army would be like difference between ketchup and mustard. It was completely different defense. One was a one high defense. We played with one free safety in the middle of the field. This year was two high safeties. So it was completely 100% different than what we did against Navy. I don't know why he said that. Maybe he misspoke. He said because it's not what we did. He had to make some adjustments. I'm sure he wouldn't have had to make adjustments if we ran the same defense against Navy. He would have assumed, that that's what we were going to do probably. So he might have misspoke because we made that change after Navy and obviously tried something new and obviously one was not as successful as we would have liked it to have been.
Okay. But then this generally, as you get into this, as you prepare for this, I guess you feel like there might be things to tweak, or you just got to, get better. Because I think coming out of that Army game, it was like our guys just really had to deal with it better up front. So maybe it wasn't scheme as much as it was.
Oh, it's everything. We don't ever we try not to make. We try not to ever because nothing's ever in football attributed to just one thing. So we don't ever say, well, it's the players, not the coaches. Because as a coaching staff, especially Coach Snow, we put everything 100% on us. But Tulane presents a different challenge in that they're not truly triple option. They're in the gun, so it's gun triple option, right? So it's they throw the ball more. They've got zone read. They got so it's a completely different animal unto of itself. So Phil's in the office this week and he's working on that because it's just while it has some similarities to Army and Navy, it's also very different, which presents another challenge, right? Because they do throw the ball and they do some other things with it.
Okay. And the last thing I kind of wanted to ask on this was just generally speaking with your, that first game, you had pretty much basically 3 new starters in the backfield. Was part of, as you looked at that game, you just didn't necessarily you weren't sure how they would react. Were you a little bit more conservative because your backfield was kind of new then, where you might be a little more willing to kind of commit guys into the box? Yeah, the defensive backfield.
Yeah, we played. I don't really know. We played just an option defense. We're a quarters team. We played a quarters defense. I think we just went after them with what we thought would be good. At the end of the day, we really didn't get hurt a ton. We got hurt up front with the fullback. We just weren't physical enough at the point of attack, and we didn't have enough ways to take the fullback away. And so, at the end of the day, there was it wasn't like there was a lot of trademark option long runs or option long passes, right? They just kind of like what Navy did to Notre Dame on Saturday. They just controlled time of possession and controlled the clock and went 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, big play, So, but yeah, it's hard for me because I don't really think about the first game 10 weeks into it, and so I can't remember everything that happened, But yeah, there was nothing in terms of not being there. We had Champ back there. We felt good about Champ and Delvon, and just kind of played what we thought would work, and obviously wasn't good enough.
Okay, thanks.
And we'll go to Matt Bender with owlscoop.com.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, good, Matt. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I wanted to ask you about Michael Dogby. It seems like really since he kind of took over when Julian Taylor went down, he's kind of turned a corner and played really well for you guys over the last few games. Phil Snow said after the game on Friday night that you've kind of stepped in and helped out a little bit with the defensive linemen. Just how do you think you've kind of helped Dogby develop a little bit, and what have you seen from him over the last few games?
Yeah, I wouldn't give me any credit for that. I think that's been Michael and Avery. I think what we did was after sort of the Charlotte game, maybe even in the SMU game, we just tried to really get back to basics with those guys, and to just we had some new guys playing, and I thought Elijah tried to make sure that the defensive ends were seeing such different things in all these spread offenses and then the defensive tackles. So but that's all Elijah's coaching, just me trying to help him in terms of drills and stuff. But I think what's happened is Dogby and Avery Robinson are playing their best football. They're made a real commitment to getting up the field and getting vertical and establishing a new line of scrimmage. And so what it's led to is us being able to stop more of the inside run that we were struggling with early in the year, and also at the same time generating more pass rush from the inside guys. So whether it's, I think Avery had a couple sacks a few games ago, and he hit the quarterback a bunch of times against Cincinnati, and now Dogby had a sack last game. But just those guys really, really committing to fundamentally getting up the field. I think that's been great. And then now Karamo's playing more. Freddie Booth's playing more. Greg Webb's playing more, and they're really developing as well. So we have 5 guys that we feel really, really good about at that position.
And at quarterback, obviously, you guys were shorthanded by the end of the night on Friday night, and really only down to 2 guys. Just what can you say about the jobs the corners have done this year? Obviously, they're up there in the nation in pass defense in the rankings. Allowed under 100 yards to UConn. Just what can you say about the job they did on Friday night when they were so shorthanded?
And I appreciate you bringing that up because, the pass defense being, one of the tops in the country isn't brought up a ton, but it's a true testament to just, with all those injuries, the job that Phil has done and Francis has done, and really all four defensive coaches, because it's the pass rush as well, has been outstanding. And, for Francis to take, Artrell in his first year of being a true starter and develop him into a really, really an outstanding corner, and then, for Nate Hairston, he was fantastic the other night. And, he's been that way for the last couple of games, and, he's only going on, really, he hasn't even come up on a year now playing corner, and Derek Thomas is in his first year playing corner. So to take two first-year corners and have them play at the level that they played at, and then for Saquon to step up, I'm really, really proud of Saquon Jefferson. He was an unsung hero for us in the game, to go out there and play at the level he did. I just think the job that our defensive backs have done in terms of their commitment to getting better, their commitment to, guys ask me sometimes why we rotate so much. We do it for nights like the other night where, we're playing with our fourth and our fifth corner at times, and, playing with our third or fourth safety. Everyone needs to be ready to play, and that's really a position group I'm really proud of.